Welcome to Seeking Alpha's Wall Street Breakfast, your daily source of market news and analysis. Subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, November 11th, and I'm your host, Steve Brown. Our top stories today. Alibaba sets new Singles Day record. Hong Kong chaos rattles stocks. And another cash windfall for Alibaba. Leading today's news. Singles Day regularly racks up bigger sales than Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. But Alibaba already topped last year's record in 16 and a half hours, with gross merchandise value of $30.5 billion. That's equal to 87% of Amazon's online store sales in its latest quarter, and the figure is set to rise further. Held back by a slowing overall e-commerce industry and the trade war, sales growth for the full 24-hour event is still likely to fall short of last year's 27%, according to analysts. Alibaba first latched onto Singles Day, symbolized by the four lonely ones of 11/11 in 2009, and has transformed the holiday into the world's biggest online sales event. Alibaba is down 0.7% pre-market. In other news, traders are closely following the events in Hong Kong, where the Hang Seng Index lost almost 3% after the city's start-of-the-week commute descended into turmoil. A day after 3 pro-democracy lawmakers were arrested, police fired gunshots at protesters as they tried to block roads and delay trains, sending one man to the hospital in critical condition. Dow futures also fell 115 points on the nose in the U.S., where the bond market is closed Monday due to Veterans Day. Alibaba has added Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley to the sales force for its secondary market listing on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and invited several Chinese banks to do the same. The deal is being led by Credit Suisse and China International Capital Corporation, according to Bloomberg. Alibaba plans to start taking investor orders on November 15th and price the up to $15 billion offering on November 20th. Up to 0.5% of Saudi Aramco shares will be allocated to individual investors in what could be the biggest IPO in history. The process will begin on November 17th and close on December 4th. Other crucial information was lacking, like the total percentage of the company to be sold, the level at which the shares will be priced, and an estimate of the total value of Aramco. Give or take $1 trillion, analyst valuations of the state-backed oil giant have so far varied greatly, ranging from between $1.2 trillion to $2.3 trillion. New York's Department of Financial Services has initiated a probe into the credit card practices of Goldman Sachs following a series of tweets from David Heinemeier Hansson, the creator of Ruby on Rails. He slammed the Apple Card for giving him 20 times the credit limit than his wife, despite filing joint tax returns and his wife having a better credit score, and alleged that gender discrimination was present in the algorithms that determined credit limits. Launched in August, the Apple Card is a joint venture between Apple and Goldman, which is responsible for all credit decisions related to the card. Crude oil resumed flowing for Keystone on Sunday after 9,120 barrels of oil leaked out in North Dakota in late October, marking Keystone's largest ever spill. Pipeline operator TC Energy said the line will now operate at a reduced pressure, gradually increasing the volume of crude moving through the system. Users of the pipeline are also concerned that Keystone's transportation exemption for higher than standard pressure levels may be at risk after 4 significant leaks over the past decade. 2 cannabis-based medicines manufactured by GW Pharmaceuticals have been recommended for use by the NHS for the first time. Epidiolex has been approved for 2 rare types of epilepsy, Lennox-Gastaut and Dravet syndromes, while the spray Sativex has been recommended for muscle spasms in multiple sclerosis. Campaigners welcomed the decision, but said thousands of other people with a range of conditions who could benefit from cannabis-based medicines were left in limbo. The UK economy welcomed a return to growth in the third quarter as GDP expanded 0.3%, following a 0.2% contraction in Q2. Things are still looking weak. On an annual basis, UK GDP rose only by 1%, marking the lowest rate since the first quarter of 2010, when Britain clawed its way out of the financial crisis. Manufacturing, the largest subsector of production, was also flat in the 3 months to September 2019, according to the Office for National Statistics. Sterling is up 0.4% to $1.28. As of 6:20 a.m. today, U.S. futures and crude oil are all set to open in the red, with gold slightly up. That concludes today's Wall Street Breakfast. Thank you for listening. For the best investment analysis and news on the web, go to seekingalpha.com. Subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can sign up for our other podcasts, Behind the Idea, SA for FAs, Let's Talk ETFs, the Cannabis Investing Podcast, and Marketplace Roundtable on those platforms as well. Have a great day.